Hey guys, I'm John Campia. Welcome to my movie vlog, and this is my quick review of the brand new Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams comedy, Game Night. Now, one other little angle of interest to Game Night is that it's being directed by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley. Now, these are the guys who directed the abysmal car wreck of a comedy called Vacation, the one that starred Ed Helms. That movie was just terrible, but they were writers on Spider-Man Homecoming. That's pretty good. Anyway, the reason a lot of people are looking at Game Night with some interest is because these two guys are the apparent directors of the upcoming Flash movie Flashpoint in the DC cinematic universe, and people are wondering, will this movie give us some hope? Well, yes and no. Look, let me say right off the front, Game Night is a funny movie. It just is. Where Vacation failed most miserably, not being funny, Game Night achieves that. It gives you the laughs. It gives you the chuckles. It's not the funniest film of the year per se, but it's a really entertaining film from start to finish just on a laughs basis. And if you watch me for any period of time, you know one of the things that I'm always saying is that comedy is one of those genres where you can get almost everything else wrong, story, character development, whatever else. As long as you give people laughs, almost everything else will be forgiven. And that is kind of the case with Game Night. They bring the laughs, but a lot of the other things fall by the wayside. Let's start with our lead couple, Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. First of all, I adore Rachel McAdams. Good Canadian kid, by the way. It almost doesn't matter what she appears in, whether it's like a comic book movie like Doctor Strange, a comedy like Game Night, whether it's The Notebook or anything else. She just always seems to be able to adapt to whatever kind of a movie she's in, and she's always a charming presence. And her dynamic with Jason Bateman and Jason Bateman's dynamic with her as this married couple, this game-loving, competitive married couple, is awesome and really becomes the backbone of the film, and I thought they played off each other great. And look, while everybody who is in this film as a cast member is fantastic, including two villains, and I won't give away who the villains are, but including two villains who I thought their appearances were great, I do want to point out on top of that, Lamorne Morris and Kylie Bunbury as one of the other couples who participate in the Game Night. Much like Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams' characters, these two had such a charming, warm, funny chemistry with each other that every moment the two of them were on screen together and even just talking to each other as they're engaging in this game is absolutely wonderful to watch. Some really good laugh out loud moments, some really charming moments at the same time. And these two as a couple just made you smile. Also want to mention Kyle Chandler. Now you'll remember him from like Friday Night Lights, the Netflix hit show Bloodlines, and a bunch of other different things. He plays Jason Bateman's older brother, and he kind of becomes the spark that sets the story on its way. Now, the brother shows up, Kyle Chandler's character, and he suggests this game night where they're going to have something of a murder and kidnap mystery. You see all this in the trailer. Except, as you also see in the trailer, something goes wrong and it turns into a real cat kidnapping. Look, when I think of Kyle Chandler, I don't think of comedy right off the bat. He's done comedy before. I think of him more as a dramatic actor for obvious reasons, but I thought he fit in really well. It was a little jarring at first seeing him come on screen because I have certain expectations that come along with him as an actor, but I thought he fit in with this cast great and he really added to the movie. I also would be completely remiss if I didn't mention Jesse Plemons. You'll remember him from Breaking Bad and a bunch of other movies, but Jesse plays this next door neighbor who used to be part of this group of friends, but this group of friends really liked his wife more, and his wife and him have separated and he's still living next door, and there's this really awesome awkward tension between him and the rest of the group. I'm not going to give anything away about it. It's just that I loved him in this. I really did. I almost, it's so good, and he does uncomfortable and awkward so well that half the time that he's playing out these scenes with these other characters, I wanted to close my eyes because it was so uncomfortable. Played it brilliantly and just really added a new dimension to the comedy of the film. And there is some great stuff in this movie involving his dog. Just watch it. The premise was okay for the movie. Look, we've seen it done before. People think they're playing a game, but it's actually real. We've seen that played out in many different ways and in different forms dozens of times. So nothing completely original there, but it is a context that suits this movie and it worked well for that. However, the story itself, despite the context and the whole setup and the premise of the movie being okay for it, the story and the way they unfold it is really not done all that well. Yeah, being a comedy, there's a bit of an element of a suspension of disbelief, yes, but as the story takes several kind of twists and turns, I'm just kind of finding myself going, are they doing that? Are they doing that? But then they come back to just the characters interacting with each other, and that's where the comedy gold lies, and that's where the movie works best. But as far as the storytelling elements and moving from point A to B to C in their narrative and their directions and the twists those narratives took, it just didn't feel good. It felt kind of like high school filmmakers doing it. Like, if this wasn't a comedy, this isn't a very good movie. But the fact of the matter is, this is a comedy. And like I said at the beginning, in the comedic genre, if you make people laugh, everything else can be forgiven. And in this movie's context, in Game Night, the movie makes you laugh. Thus, I left the theater very entertained, having had a good time. As far as the directors go, and does this movie give me any more additional hope for Flashpoint? As a matter of fact, it makes me feel even a little bit more nervous. I believe they'll get the laughs in Flashpoint, but can they make a compelling story? Can they give a narrative to the movie as well? And nothing in Game Night, while I really enjoyed it, makes me think they're able to do that. But hey, we'll just have to wait and see. Bottom line is, if you're just in the mood for a good comedy that's going to make you laugh and you're not so worried if the story's any good or a lot of the other elements of the movie are any good, then Game Night is a film for you. It is funny. You will laugh. And if you're like me, you'll walk out of the theater entertained, even if they didn't do such a good job with the rest of the stuff in the film. But the important thing here is, guys, have you had a chance to see Game Night? If you have, jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. While you're here, guys, take a second, click on that subscribe button, click the thumbs up button, follow me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, simply at John Campea. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.